The moon, what a glorious celestial object that shines above us all, lighting the way for travellers of the night, and granting me the power to protect said travellers. Yeah, I think the past few weeks of only playing Moon Knight have driven me insane. Over the past few months, I have been playing a significant amount of Marvel Rivals, and yet, up until recently, I didn't have a single Lord hero. It took me a while to pick a character that I actually wanted to put that much time and effort into, until I heard the whispers of the moon. Then it was obvious who I must play. Moon Knight. Moon Knight is one of the many duelists within Marvel Rivals, and is an absolute force to be reckoned with if the person using him has actually learnt how to play him effectively. Moon Knight is an absolute nightmare for enemies to kill once you master all of his mobility options. These can be used mid-fight to avoid attacks and sometimes entire ultimates. His grappling hook can be used to pull yourself up towards height or just shot at your feet to launch yourself up into the air, giving you a brief second to attack from above. Moon Knight also has a double jump that can be paired with the grappling hook to constantly keep the enemies on their toes as you are just constantly bouncing around the battlefield. Moon Knight's final mobility option is his cape. His cape is best paired with either of the previous mobility abilities to move quickly back to point once you die or to glide over an ongoing fight to get to a better position. All of these movement abilities work in perfect unison with the rest of his kit, allowing a good Moon Knight player to be one of the most influential players in a match. Moon Knight's primary attack is his crescent darts. Moon Knight will throw a burst of 3 crescent darts at his enemies, which will bounce between enemies who are close together. This is an amazing damage dealer, especially when the enemy team is all grouped up and all coming through choke points that many of the current maps include. Same can be said about the Moon Blade, that he can throw it every 6 seconds. This works just like the crescent darts, only it gives Moon Knight bonus health with every person it rebounds and hits. With everything Moon Knight has, it is important you focus on targeting enemies that are clumped together in order to get the most value out of playing him. The backbone to any good Moon Knight player is his last ability, the Ankh. Moon Knight can throw an Ankh towards enemies that briefly pulls all enemies within range towards the center. The Ankh also rebounds any of Moon Knight's throwables towards all enemies in range, once again bouncing them all around, dealing massive damage if the entire team is clumped together. Most Moon Knight players just sit in the back line, aiming purely at the Ankh they've placed down, hoping that just aiming at that will win them the game. But there are much more creative ways you can use the Ankh, especially when fighting in the front lines. The Ankh pairs well with his ultimate, as it can briefly pull enemies who try to escape back into the ult, which will most of the time result in them dying. The Ankh is also a massive lifesaver when it comes to stopping dives from Spider-Man, Captain America, Venom, and Iron Fist, as you can always throw it at your feet and combo it with your attacks to kill anyone trying to jump you. If this ability is on cooldown, Moon Knight benefits from targeting the tanks on the enemy team, as they are much easier targets, and rebounding attacks off them will sometimes take out a DPS or support that's playing close to the tank. Moon Knight is blessed with the fastest time to gain his ultimate in the game as long as he does a heap of damage to a group of enemies. He is also blessed with one of the most broken ults in the entire game, allowing him to open a portal above an area and slam down a bunch of hands, damaging anyone caught in the range. As mentioned before, pairing this with his Ankh is important to making sure that enemies cannot escape. This ult is also better used when above the enemy team, so make sure you also combo it with your movement abilities we talked about earlier to get the most value out of it. When paired with a Cloak and Dagger, Moon Knight gains an extra ability that allows him to summon a small zone that gives him the ability to become invisible until he is hit by an enemy. While you are invisible in the zone, ults will not affect you. This means that if an Iron Man or Scarlet Witch ults right next to you, and you quickly summon the zone, you can completely dodge the attack and remain alive. This zone also grants him healing, which is the main reason I used it, as your healers have it hard enough as it is, and they do not need to be worrying about you when you have your own way of healing. When it comes down to it, Moon Knight is a great damage dealing character, and he is also wildly fun to play. Moon Knight can deal consistent damage from the backlines while also being one of the most annoying characters to deal with in the front lines. His kit, combined with his team-up ability, allows him to remain alive even in the stickiest situations and continue being a nuisance to any enemies nearby.